talked about the walkthroughs last week. We talked about, backhands, forehands. We talked about short hop series. We talked about all that. So hopefully, if you haven't done so on the younger side, the freshmen, sophomores, please start to incorporate those things into your routine. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You can do it against the door, get a sponge ball or a wiffle ball or something like that. You could do them in that setting as well. If you don't have the luxury of a wall or a yard or anything like that, you can do them in your room. It's nothing crazy, okay? And if you use a sponge ball, you're going to limit the noise, all right? So the first thing I want to talk about today is I want to keep going on that progression. I want to talk about double plays, okay? So we'll talk about it from the middle side first. I'm going to back up a little bit, so hopefully you guys can be able to see where the base is. I'm just going to tilt the camera down a little bit so you'll get more of that in there. All right, so first thing I want to do is I want to talk about pivots around the bag from the middle side. All right, so we got four corners of the bag, obviously. That's the most important piece, okay? So from the shortstop side, so I'm going to do this as if this is shortstop. To my left is going to be second base, so you have a visual. I'm not sure if your camera's mirrored or not, but just so you have an idea. So on the shortstop side of the pivot, what we want to do is we want to make sure we get to the baseball, get to the bag, go to the ball first, as we talked about on Friday, ball, base, back up. So obviously double play depth. Double play depth is where you can comfortably field the ball from, flip the ball from. All right, so again, double play depth, where I can comfortably flip the ball from. And it's going to be different for everyone, and that's one of the things you need to know about yourself as a player, okay? So if I'm a guy who has a little bit more range, or I can put a little bit more on my flip, maybe I can play a little bit deeper at that point. But if not, I need to be able to be in a position close enough to the bag where I can feel the routine ground ball and flip it from either side, wherever it's going to be hit from, okay? So that's that's what our basic point of double play depth is going to start, okay? So again, lecture format here today, all right? So if you have questions, feel free to jump in. I can't really see my screen, so I'm kind of just winging it. So if you have a question, just butt in, and I'll cut out because I can hear you in my earpiece. All right. So as I approach the bag here, I want to make sure I control my breakdown. And as a shortstop side, I want to make sure I stay on the back side of the bag on this part. So middle to back part of the bag. So if I'm going, this is my second base side. I'm over here. I want to be in this position. So when I get to the bag, I want to have my right foot along the base. And when I receive the ball, hopefully from the flip from the second base side, he's going to follow his flip to the base, to the front part of the base, which is going to allow me to drag my backside along the base and allow me to get into power position to make that throw. Now, again, using the base as leverage there, the runner in college baseball can only slide into the bag directly. Okay, so in that sense, again, I want to control my breakdown, get to the bag here. I want to make my target known, 2-2-2 or flip, 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 however you want to do the communication, that's fine with me. Drag your back part of the back around the bag, and you're going to get in the power position. Hopefully the runner stays where he's supposed to be, and he'll clear the bag at that point in time. Okay, we don't want to end up getting too much momentum on the outside part on the outside. That's going to take our throw this way. It's going to end up with some run on that side. Okay, so I want to get to the bag, use the middle part of the bag at all times if I can. If I have time and my second baseman leads me over the middle and the runner's not bearing down on me, yeah, I can just take that throw and cut the distance and cut that distance in half. So again, I'm going to do it straight on to the camera so you can see it in that sense. Okay. So if I'm the shortstop side, now second base is going to be over there. First base is going to be you. So if I'm throwing right at you, I'm going to get to the base here, use my right foot to pivot along the bag, drag it along, get myself into power position and go. If the throw comes this way, I can anticipate that bad throw because now if the flip or the throw, whatever it is that comes across, I can replace my feet to the point where I'm here. Okay. Hanging on the shortstop side a little bit longer, when we have a situation where the first baseman, when the ball is hit to the first baseman, so again, you're the first baseman in this sense. So you're going to take the lane where your camera view is right now. I'm going straight on. So second base, first base is you. In that sense, the first baseman is going to pick the lane, right? So if he's playing in front of the base or he's holding the guy, obviously he's going to be holding the guy on if there's a runner on first and nobody on second. If there's runners on first and second, he might be playing behind. He may be playing in front of the bag or behind the bag, depending on the situation that dictates itself, all right? So if he's in front of the base, okay, we'll assume in this situation that it's first and second. So he's going to be in front of the base. The throw is made. We want to make sure we take the lane inside. So inside part of the diamond, this will be the outfield side of the diamond, okay? So the infield side of the diamond, all right? So we can clear the lane so I can make that throw. Now, if the throw comes across, I can replace my feet across. If he crosses that stream, if he crosses that lane there, I can pivot my feet around the bag in that sense, okay? So now if there's a runner on first, nobody on second base, first baseman, maybe at that point he's holding, okay? So again, he's going to come off, he's going to be in front. and I'm going to make sure I'm in this lane. Again, if he crosses streams. So now in the situation, first and second, maybe the first baseman's behind in this. Maybe there's a lefty at the plate. Okay, so maybe there's a shortstop. I may be shaded up the middle of the order lefty, depending on the situation, right? So now if he's behind, I'm going to try and give him this lane throwing. Okay, and if he misses me, now I can stretch, I can move around. Now if he crosses back, same thing's going to apply. I'm going to replace with my left foot on the bag. All right, remember to maintain contact with the bag to record the out. The area play is still kind of in effect to some degree, but only for safety purposes, okay? So I wouldn't like you to make sure you keep your foot on the base, because we had a couple of calls on that side where unfortunately we didn't get that call. It went against us, okay? So that's my spiel on the shortstop side of the front ends of the double plays, okay? So the receiving ends of the double plays. So we talked about the throw coming from second. We talked about the throw coming from the first baseman, okay? Last piece, the throw coming back from the pitcher. Always something that's dubious in that sense. It depends on what the situation is. So if in that same token where the first baseman may lead you in a certain direction, you may not have time to get the return throw, or you may be relying on the pitcher to get over, or the first baseman to get back, or even in some instances, maybe the second baseman is coming over, like in that situation I just described with the lefty up, and he may be shading over, okay? Maybe he's the guy coming over in that sense. So whenever you have an opportunity to record the out, make sure of the first one, okay? Don't try to do too much. So if we're in a situation where the ball's coming from the pitcher, so now in this sense, I'll flip around, so first baseman's going to be there. You're going to be the pitcher. And we all know that the throw coming back from the pitcher may not be a good thing, okay? So in that sense, I may need to come and be that first baseman. If I'm in the first base mode, I want to make sure I have my right foot on the bag, okay, with the left foot stretching with my glove hand, okay? So that means, and I'm anticipating the bad throw. All right, so if that way, if he lawn darts a throw over here, I'm going to stride with my left foot and pick. Okay, same thing over here. All right, and that same concept applies for the first baseman that are on the call as well, and we'll get into that in a little bit down the line here. Okay, but in that sense, if we're picking, if we're going for the force only, maybe it's a comebacker on a bunt. Okay, maybe it's a throwback from the catcher. Those are the things we're going to work on as the shortstop in that situation. Okay, if the throw is a routine double play comebacker, right? Pitcher already knows who's got the comeback. He's going to address it. The middle infielder is going to acknowledge, and we're going to go from there. So that's the communication that we want to establish. Pre-pitch communication. We talked last week about that. Pre-pitch movement and pre-pitch conversation, pre-pitch communication. Those are things that go into play with that. All right. So that throw coming back from the pitcher, I want to make sure I give the pitcher a clear target. I want to make sure of the first out. So again, ideally, yes, he's going to lead me across the base. Ideally, but not necessarily going to be the case. So if that happens where the throw maybe makes us come up, we need to make sure we have good footwork around the bag so we can adjust and not put ourselves in a bad situation. Okay. But again, that pre-pitch communication, knowing and establishing who has the ball for coming back from the pitcher. All right. So that's coming from the catcher, coming from the pitcher, coming from the first baseman, coming from the second baseman. Okay. So I just want to switch gears right now, go over to the second base side of the bag. So if I'm on the second base side, shortstop's to my right. I am the second baseman, okay? First baseman is going to be to my left in this situation. Now, this is when the pivots can kind of get a little tricky, all right? The main pivot that I like guys to work on is left to the bag, right across. I don't have a pitched base right now, so I can't use the downward slope. But the pitched base is going to be like a house, okay? It's going to be in that sense where it's like a house. And I can use that downward slope to pivot myself and gain ground towards first base. I don't want to gain ground back towards third base when I come across the bag. I want to gain ground on the angle towards first base to put some momentum into my throw. Okay, so if I'm going to come across, we're going to call this we're going to come across on this one. So left to the bag, establishing the athletic position. Once we chop our feet, we get to the bag. Left to the bag, boom, catch. We're going to step across, and we're going to throw. All right, and hopefully the runner will stay in that lane, and we'll clear the runner. We don't need to jump or do any more gyrations. But again, that's the shortstop throwing the ball, controlling the flip to the front part of the base, okay? So flipping it into my range so I can be here. Now, if I'm good enough, I can cross right there, and now I just gained with my front foot. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I can probably gain about 2 to 3 feet on there, and if I'm in a wider view, you'll probably be able to see me get a little bit more on that. I can shut down that throw and cut it down a little bit just by stepping and catching and transferring all at the same time. All right, so super important to get that footwork down. So again, left to the base, right across, boom. And you can do that against yourself, against the wall just by underhanding the ball to yourself and just working on that transfer, okay? If you don't have someone to throw with at this point. So that's left to the bag right across, all right? Another one is a back pivot, okay? I call it a rocker. So you get to the bag, you break down, control your breakdown, you're gonna be in this window, hopefully that throw. Now maybe in this sense, this is the one where we're probably gonna get to the bag maybe a little later than expected as the second baseman in this sense, okay? So maybe we got to the bag late, or the shortstop, you know, kind of in between maybe on a hop or something like that, where the runner's bearing down on us, we don't have enough time to come across. We want to make sure we get to the ball. It's coming from a certain angle. That's going to be left to the bag, and then we're going to block back. So I call it a back rocker. So we're going to be here, anticipate that bad throw. We're going to flash, boom, left foot to the bag, right, and it's going to pull off as well, and then I'm going to throw, and that allows me to clear the runner in that spot. He slides into the base. Okay, so that's the back rocker. So now we covered 2 pivots right there, but that's the one you're going to use primarily if you're late to the base, okay? If you're a little bit tardy getting there. Now, another one, using the back portion of the base, and if, you know, you grew up at a time when Robbie Cano was in New York, cannon, right, for an arm, all right? You saw it a little bit last year, but he used this one a whole lot because he had such a good arm. Glaber, when he was playing second base for the Yankees, liked to use it as well. You don't see LeMahieu use it too often. He usually comes across or does the rocker. But this is the one where you're going to hang out on the back part of the base. Okay, maybe it's the ball that the shortstop's going to take kind of going to his left a little bit on the range side, or maybe it's the throw where it's coming from the third baseman. It's going to take you more towards the outfield side of the bag. So it's kind of going to run that way. Maybe the third baseman is deep in that situation, and he's just coming to you maybe as a force, whatever it may be. But if it's something we can turn 2 on, we're definitely going to try and do that. But we're going to get to the base, make sure we're athletic. Again, foot kind of towards the middle, 3/4 of the way to the back part of the base in that sense, anticipating that throw. And now we're going to make sure we're going to be here, and we're going to clear this spot, and we're going to release from there, okay? And we're going to use the base as the barrier. So the runner can't go through that barrier. He has to remain in contact with the base, okay? So he can't get to us in that spot, all right? So that's the back. That's this side to my right, okay? I'll then left to the base. I'm going to clear, boom, release, runner slides there. Okay, now at different levels, it's going to be a lot different. Okay, you may see it in the big leagues, like guys can get taken out in the old school videos. College baseball, the rule states that you can't do that anymore. All right, so then a couple of ones you can get fancy on is kind of like the jump. So you're really late getting there, you're going to jump and throw at the same time. Again, a left to the bag. Okay, you're going to go up with the right probably and release. Okay, that's when you're really in do or die situation. But again, the other one that could be tricky, I touched on it a second ago, the throw coming from the third baseman. Ideally, you have the most time to read that throw because of the distance. So if he's going to get me to the bag, I want to try and make sure that he can throw it to my left side, front shoulder, over. All right, so I want to be chest to front shoulder, over, but not too far. All right, that's going to give me the ability to step across, left to the bag, right across, gain ground towards my target. Okay. We rarely go to the right foot around the base in that sense unless we're going for the force. So again, maybe it's a third baseman makes a nice play down the line. I need to make sure I'm become the first baseman. Maybe it's the comebacker from the pitcher, depending on who has coverage in that spot. All things to be considered in that sense. All right. So those are the front parts of that double play. Okay. So now we talk about the first base side on the throws. We just talked about that a little bit earlier. So depending on the situation, if I'm holding the runner on at first base, we want to make sure we control the front 11 inches of the base, okay? And the way we're going to do that is by using the heels of our feet. So if I'm the first baseman and I'm looking at you, you're literally the second base bag. I'm going to be looking at you in this sense. I'm going to control it with the front part. I'm going to control that front part of the bag. I'm not going to rarely use the back part of the bag unless it's an emergency. So my heels are going to be in contact, and that's going to allow me to navigate. And I'm going to watch my throw. I'm going to remain in athletic position, and I'm going to replace. So if it's a throw coming this way, I'm going to make sure my right foot goes to the bag. My left foot's going to allow me to stretch in that sense. And the same thing on this side. Maybe I got the second baseman going into the 4-hole to his left. I'm going to make sure I'm here. My left hand, as a righty, my left foot and my left hand are going to work together. And we can use those same principles when we become a force object at second and third and even at the plate as well. All right, so controlling that front part of the bag, okay, with our heels to allow us to transfer. Okay, so I'm here, boom. And this is one of those footwork drills that you can do on your own if you're a first baseman or a guy who's a part-time first baseman to get comfortable with your surroundings. So you can start over here, pretend you're reacting to the batted ball, make sure your footwork is there, boom, here, and I'm here, right? And if you have someone who can do those flips with you and do short hops, now you can get into here, working your left hand and your left foot, allowing you to propel yourself forward. So getting your left and your left side engaged, and then on the backhand side, the same thing. One of the toughest plays, I think, for first baseman, which I observed, and is an infielder who throws the ball across the diamond, is when you're in this spot, okay? Anywhere in this little triangle, okay? Because if you're all the way to the left, you only have one option. It has to be a forehand pick, okay? If I'm anywhere from here out of this triangle, okay, it's a backhand pick, okay, if it's on the ground. Same thing with the throw in my radius, right? If it's on this side, I'm here, 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 okay? It's all going to be quarter turn or backhand on that side. If I'm over here, it's all going to be forehand and above, all right? So it's real simple. Where it gets tricky is in that V, okay? And I say that because a two-seam ball, if you don't get the four-seam grip, maybe a guy's on the run or he's challenged or he's got a low arm slot, those are all things you need to do and establish as a partner in practice so you understand what ball everybody on the infield's ball does, okay? So if you're reading the trajectory of the flight of the ball in that sense, now it's where it kind of gets a little tricky because I can go backhand pick in this area right here, okay, because it's on the right side of my body. And as infielders, we know if we can't keep the ball on our left side, we got to go backhand. That's what we talked about last week, right? And the same thing on to our left, right? If we can't get to the ball on that side where we can square up, it's going to probably be a one-hander on the outside, and that's a forehand drill right there in the short hop. So those are things as first baseman you can work on at home right now. Understanding this triangle trajectory here, that's where it could get a little dicey, okay? Other than that, everything is in play for you, okay? But establishing your foothold on the base, super important, because if you can't establish the catch with the foot on the bag, you're no use to us at that point, okay? So those are all things you need to work on and having that visual presence, okay? So on the double play side, like I just said, if we're in front of the base, when I was explaining this to the shortstop side, if I'm holding the runner on, okay? You just move this back a little bit. If I'm holding the runner on, okay, and I accelerate off the bag with my shuffle, and I'm here as a right-handed thrower, I need to turn and clear my lane. So at this point, if you're the second base bag, I'm going in the inside lane closest to the infield, okay? If I am behind the runner, which means there's a runner on and there's probably another runner on in front of him because we're never going to turn a double play with not having someone in front of us by not holding the runner on and keeping him close. So this means there's a runner in front of him. We're playing behind the base in this sense. The ball is thrown. I want to make sure I take that other angle. I need to square back. Or if I'm going down the line, I need to take my step inside the diamond to make sure I hit my guy in the chest. Okay, again, clearing the lane, get into that power position, and make the strong throw. Establish the first out. Okay, yes, we would love the first baseman to get back on every ball because he's the first baseman. His job is to catch the baseball. We don't need the pitcher coming over. We don't want the second baseman coming over if that's do or die situation. We want the first baseman to catch the baseball. That's what their job is to do out there. He made the throw, fielded it. That's the first tough part. Second tough part of that play is to establish the throw. The third part of that play is to return to the position to record the second part of the out, okay? Never pretty when a pitcher's coming over, but still, we want to make sure we work on them, all right? So these, again, are double play situations. If we're in a bunt situation, it might be a little different, okay? So that's the throw from first in that sense. We've talked about short and second. So now to back up to go to the shortstop side quickly, okay? So flips, all right? I posted that video on the infield side for flips, okay? If I'm flipping the ball, okay, where I can comfortably flip the ball from, that's my double play depth. From the shortstop side, I want to field the ball left side over, okay, under my left side eye, all right? I want to hopefully establish the breakdown with my right foot so I can field. Now I want to feel the hop as it comes to me, not away from me, so I can stay in stride. Okay, when I flip the ball, I'll get a little closer on this. When I flip the ball, I want to establish a stiff wrist. So when I'm flipping, I'm going palm up to the inside part of the bag at second base, okay? Now, the way I can cheat that is by putting my left foot, my left toe, in the direction of where I want to flip to part of the base, okay? So when I flip, I want to control my breakdown. Right, left is down. Now, in this sense, hopefully you guys can still see this in the camera, my left foot is going to be toed to where I need to be. So left foot points to the direction where I want to flip it. So now I can field here, transfer here, and my right hand and my right foot now work together, palm up, stiff flip, okay, to the front part of that base. And I'm going to follow my throw to the front part of the base and then peel off to the outfield as I get closer. Okay, so that's left, right, down. I want to point my foot there, field under the left side eye, my separate on my transfer, and I'm always going to never deceive. I never want to come up this way. I want to separate my transfer, right hand and right foot now work together to establish that flip. Okay, that's a routine ground ball straight at us or to our left in that sense. Okay, yes, you can go glove flip if you're close enough. That's fine. All right, never deceive. Always separate on the transfer, palm up, good flip, hopefully good four-seam rotation. Okay, right foot, right hand working together. Okay, now next piece. Okay, ball hit to my right now. All right, yes, if I can get in front of it, I want to do that. Okay, so this is the ball where we're going to dart throw. Okay, so now this is the ball where, now again, don't judge on the distance here. If I'm to my right, I'm here, I make my play on my right side, I'm going to get to here. Now, ideally, if I can good enough, I can square myself up, okay, and dart throw, okay, by already sinking my left foot, okay, and my right knee is going to drive down, and that's what's going to allow me to dart throw that ball. So if I'm here, okay, I'm already going to field it back, so I don't need to take the step back, okay? So the first part of that is going to be, yes, I'm going to field, I can drop back, dart throw, okay? Right from the ear, three-quarter slot, okay? Now, to save some time on there, to take it a step further, if you're comfortable doing it, you can work on it, is you're already going to field with the drop back, okay? So we're already going to field the ball. Here I go, I control my breakdown, I can field it, boom, I'm already there, and I can field it. Now, we don't really want the ball going up and around us, so you really got to be sure. So if we're playing on a normal surface field with tough hops, no. We want to make sure let's field it, okay? Let's field, then drop, then dart, okay? Catch the ball first, make sure the first one. Again, leading the second baseman on the front side part of the bag, okay? Now, anything that's more than 2 steps to our right is going to automatically turn into a throw, okay? So sometimes you see in the big leagues, the guys field, and they just drop the right knee, and they come across. That's fine, okay? But again, your knees, your lower half dictates your throw, okay? If you are running to your right and your momentum is carrying you to the outfield, that's when you need to jump. And why do you need to jump? Because it's going to stop your momentum from carrying you away from second base, okay? So, and always remember the rule of thumb in the infield. As I get further away from second base, on the left side part of the diamond, my arm slot is going to stay above my shoulder, high arm slot. So think about it. Shortstop going in the 6th hole. Third baseman going down the line, okay? Higher arm slot. Shortstop coming across the middle. Second base going into the 4 hole, up towards the first base line. You're going to end up in a low 3/4 slot. So just remember that. You can check that infield presentation that I did that as well. I talked about that as well. All right, so that's that from that side. Now, third base, okay? Coming from third base, all right? Staying with the left side of the infield team. Okay, so here's the third base. It's on the foul line right here. I'm coming at you. You're the second baseman coming across with the throw, okay? So at third base, I want to open. When I field, I want to make sure my left hip is open in this spot, okay? Because if I'm fielding where my left foot now is too far in front of where my right foot is, I'm never going to clear my hip. It's almost very similar to when we take our lead off first base. If our right foot is closing off past our left foot, it's tough for us to clear our hips as we run towards second base. Same thing is going to apply when we're playing third base to get to a double play ball. I want to be able to field slightly open, so when I shuffle and transfer, my hip is clear so I can have a straight line of throws, okay? Apologize for the church bells in the background, all right? So, again, one more time, left hip is open, ball hit to my left, routine, somewhat routine, okay? Moderately hit, maybe a couple of steps to my range to my left. We're going to keep that left hip open as best as possible. So if I'm here, I'm going to make sure I field, and then I'm coming right at you, okay? So slightly open. If I have to go to the backhand side, okay? So if I'm coming from the backhand side, I'm here, I'm going to drop step, I cross over, I get to the base. I'm going to do the same thing here so you can see it in the camera. I'm still going to open back with my left foot to deliver the throw towards second base, okay? So once I get in the position with my backhand, I'm still going to bring that left foot back to clear my hips, to get my belly button on track towards where I need to throw it. And again, that's probably the throw like we talked about before. It's going to take the second baseman probably to the outfield side of the bag. on that. Okay, so if it's a slow roller and we're coming up, it's tough play, probably going to be on the run. Second baseman, probably going to have that tail coming at you in that sense. Okay, so that's third base. All right, last one, second base, very similar to the shortstop side. However, it has its own differential. Okay, and then we'll switch gears to the offensive side of it. Okay, so here's the base. Shortstop side is over there. Second base is over here. So if I'm in this spot, again, don't look at the distance, please. Okay, shortstop, I want to make sure I'm leading this guy right to here. That's where I want to lead him, front corner of the base. Okay, so shortstop, second base in a double play depth position is the only time on the field that I can field the ball on the right side of my body. Okay, why? Because I'm going to my right side. All other times I want to be on the left side of my body. Why? Because first base is to everybody's left, including the second baseman. Okay, so I can field it in rhythm. So this is the only time I'm going to be heading this way. All right, so once I field the ball in this spot, I can field it on my right side. Same thing as I open my toe before at the shortstop side of the bag. When I flip to second base, I'm going to do the same thing over here. When I field, I'm going to have this toe open. So now this is going to work together. Okay, my right foot is already pointed to the direction that I want to be in. I'm fielding. Now my left hand, okay, and my right palm are going to work together. Again, stiff flip, stiff arm flip. Make sure you transfer down, work down to up, okay, in that sense. Separate, don't deceive, okay? So again, this is the ball hit to us. We're slightly maybe one step to our left where we can kind of get into position and get to there to translate it into that flip. Maybe we can gain ground into that throw where I can kind of maneuver the ball over and go, okay? So that's a ball hit straight at me or to my left, okay? Now, if the ball comes up in that same spot and it's around our belly, okay? That's probably the one we're going to go backhand on, okay? When we do a backhand flip, okay, we want to make the C we talk about a lot with our glove when we field. We're going to make sure we palm is down, elbow is going to be slightly flexed, and we're going to release the ball using our thumb, okay? And it's almost going to be like a shovel with our feet. We're going to replace our feet. So if the ball comes up and gets me here, okay, I'm going to get to there, okay? I'm going to shovel it out, okay? Palm down, thumb down, elbow works as a hinge, shuffle your feet, okay, replace them, ball comes up to me, boom, okay? Now you can either use your left foot to pivot off that and drive, or you can shovel, like I just did, like almost like a shuffle pass in football. You're here, okay, I can get to there. Again, deception, don't deceive, okay? Now, that's only if the ball comes up. Some guys like to work the backhand flip on a ball that's down. That's fine. My only concern about that is when you go from here, when you go to your breakdown, and you end up coming up out of that spot, sometimes we have a tendency to let it get lazy, and we'll sail it over, guys. It happens in the big leagues a couple of times a year if you take notice in games. So something to try to think about when you do that. Try to adopt. We want to kind of be here. Pivot is open. I'm here, okay? I want to get to that spot, all right? Now, if I go to my left, okay, in this sense, same thing as I talked about before. So maybe more than 2 steps in a good range. I want a dart throw. So in the dart throw on this side, we're going to make sure we get to here. So we field. My left leg is going to start to come down. I'm going to start my transfer up here. Again, get the ball to your ear, but not behind. Okay, square up, dart throw. Okay, one more time here. Left knee breaks down. Clear my hip. Dart throw to the second baseman. Again, front part of the base. Okay. Now, if I go all the way over to my left, okay, I may have to step inside the diamond to spin around, but again, I want to make sure I clear so I can hit my guy in the chest, okay? So if I need to end up this way, I get to here, forehand, I can come back around and step inside the diamond, okay? Hopefully I didn't block myself out on the video there. The glare is tough for me to see. All right, so one more time. So if I'm here, I go to my left, I drop, step, cross over, field, step inside, dart, throw over, okay? So those are the talks around the pivots of the bag, all right? Anyone have any questions on any of those?